Hello everyone, this is Javamonk, and welcome to episode 96 of the Survival series. We are in the countdown, and in fact, we are so far in the countdown, there is only 4 episodes left before episode 100. So, last episode, we removed quite a bit of lag, so I can actually pan my camera over without totally making it look like a PowerPoint slideshow. And we also did a poetry slam with future Javamonk. That was quite fun. But of course, this poetry machine's not totally empty of haikus and limericks just yet. So let's generate one for this episode. Our haiku is: World is vast and wide. 7 more syllables here. Right now, let's eat lunch. And our limerick is: I need a front door for my hall. Who is remarkably thin? Who is really remarkably thin? And as for my hair, people say bless my soul. Well, I'll do it tomorrow, I mean. So here's the layout for these last few episodes of the countdown. Episode 96, which will be today, this episode. Episode 96, 97, and 98 are going to be kind of revisiting some of the official specials of the series. Those being episodes 42, 50, and 75. And revisit as in do something similar but scaled down. So in episode 42, let me actually demonstrate, because I can directly show this to you. Welcome to Plastic Paradise. This entire island, minus the glowstone and fences, is made entirely out of concrete. And guess where this concrete came from? I did not place this manually. Not in the survival world. No siree. I built a 3D printer. Yeah, I'm officially the first player to ever build and activate a 3D printer in survival mode. It is rather a shame that I never got a time lapse of the actual printer working. So, but the proof is there. I built a 3D printer, and it 3D printed this island right here. And then later on I moved the evoker in, and later on moved in some villagers. So it even has a plastic McDonald's, complete with this area and a checkerboard floor. So yeah, it even has like tree houses and all kinds of things. So this is a very special place, and this was printed during episode 42. So my plan for this episode, since I'm essentially kind of doing an homage to episode 42, the plan for this episode was to 3D print something. Maybe not as big as this island, but something. And I was going to 3D print it with style, as in totally revamp the 3D printer and make it and print it quickly. So this thing took me about a week and a half to actually print, not even including building the printer. This took a week and a half to print, and that's just intolerable. I mean, in the words of a certain TED Talk that kind of inspired me to study 3D printers, there are mushrooms that grow faster than 3D printers print. So, and in the case of Minecraft, that is literal, although an 81 by 81 meter circular island would be a rather hefty task to print, so a week and a half is actually not that bad if you were to convert it to real world. Anyway, I digress. The idea was to print something, but unfortunately, the old 3D printer that I used back in update 1.12 is totally broken. It doesn't work at all. Not in the slightest. And my new attempt at a 3D printer didn't go so well. Behold, my latest attempt at a 3D printer that I'm not going to build because it doesn't work. So, I've been working on this thing pretty much since episode 42, and I've not made enough progress to actually build this thing confidently in episode 96. So we're not going to do it. But I'm still going to demonstrate it because this is cool, and I hope to eventually make a tutorial of a working version. So let's just So what I have here, it actually prints out gravel. That's it. As soon as I tried to start printing out other colors of concrete powder, it totally failed. So gravel it is. So here is how it works. So this part from here up is mainly Ilmango's 2D printer design. Very fast 2D printer. It's so fast that it's ridiculous. So I have a structure block placed in the new gravel because how else are you going to refill it? At least right now. And what I have here, essentially the gravel is coming in at the speed of an item going through a hopper. And so there's gravel going through the printer and stretching out on a big long line like this. And it relies on the fact that this printer gets jammed. So once that piston jams up and is unable to push blocks, that is when it pushes out all the gravel and drops it onto the flying machines, which then drop it out in individual slices. This is totally different from any other 3D printer design I've seen because it works in vertical slices rather than layers. So you can see these... And it's very easy to jam up. Well, that's because I'm a dummy and I broke it. So, essentially what happens is, once it fills up one vertical slice, let's just simulate that by using the /fill command because this thing is broken. That should be a negative. Okay. I'm just going to /fill this with gravel so that I can demonstrate the water mechanisms. And fill that with gravel. There we go. So here's what happens. It temporarily turns off the machine, and then it drops water in kind of a waterfall fashion. And it does that with this humongous set of flying machines. And it essentially takes advantage of the fact that when frosted ice is pushed with the piston, it turns into water. So there we go. That is the water mechanism, at which point these flying machines start going out 2 blocks to drop the next slice, followed by going out again for 3 blocks. And it just continues that all the way down the line over here. So it's relatively simplistic. Yeah, it's totally broken. It doesn't work. But there are some notable circuits in here. So for example, in episode 92, I mentioned that I don't deal with hyper-precise observer mechanics to notice what Ilmango's talking about. Yeah, that's a lie, because kind of a white lie, because the only time I've ever dealt with those kinds of mechanics is these systems here. This is essentially the row pullers, and in order to be fast enough, this observer needs to double pulse whenever this leaf is updated, which happens on a 3-tick delay over here. This broke in 1.14.1, and I was totally heartbroken, but then it was fixed in 1.14.2, so I'm not so heartbroken anymore. But either way, we're not building this, and the old 3D printer isn't working, so I'm not going to 3D print this episode. That's all that there really is to it. But here's the current state of things, so get ready to see this at some point on the channel, a working 3D printer. Possibly even with a tutorial. So rather than building a full-blown, full-scale 3D printing machine, I'm instead going to kind of pseudo-print. So for example, I have enormous amounts of gravel, plus I got some concrete powder, and this is going to make a statue. Now, I'm going to manually build that statue. However, I am going to have some redstone involved, where essentially it's still going to be basically printed layer by layer. I'm just going to manually build out the layers. So it's kind of like 3D printing, but not really. So here is the giant basin that I'm going to be basically placing a bunch of gravel and concrete powder and having them drop inside this basin one layer at a time. Now, each of these layers of dispensers are controlled with this dropper tower, and I have a button up at the top there, at the top of that observer chain, which is basically going to send out a signal twice and send an item basically up 2 droppers and activate each layer of dispensers. Each layer of dispensers is just activated with a simple redstone line. So this is something that I kind of failed at showing off in the time-lapse from episode 42. So here's a jump cut showing what in the world was going on in that blur of garbage. That was the time-lapse of episode 42. I hope you enjoyed that time-lapse. I did have to cut it off really early because this is the print. And as you can see with this zoomed in view, the thing I'm using to hold up all those layers of gravel and concrete powder is signs. And signs are extremely laggy. So I did have to cut off that time-lapse early, but now we're ready to actually begin the printing process. So first I'm going to dismantle this whole scaffolding platform. So this is nice and easy. You just gotta run through here and chop down all these support columns. And then so once I'm done with this, then we can begin the printing process. All of these dispensers also have water buckets already in them, so that is not an issue. Also, off camera, I did have to add an extra layer of dispensers because it turns out I miscalculated the size of the print. So there we go. Okay, here we go. The first layer being printed. We just flick the switch twice. And that should activate the water. Here we go. And here comes the water. Eventually. There we go. Okay, it's slowly going to darken the whole area. And then once the water finishes spreading, I can just break this block and drop all of this gravel / concrete powder. So this is basically a manual 3D printer. Let me just get those torches real quick. And 3, 2, 1, first layer in. There we go. That's a lot of signs, but here we go. Here comes the first layer. And any minute now. Oh my gosh, this is actually kind of insane. There's a lot of gravel. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of gravel. Okay, and then hopefully this next part actually works. So the reason I'm doing most of this manually is actually because when I actually dismantle this 3D printer later, I don't want to have shulker boxes full of water buckets. I want shulker boxes full of empty buckets, because those are much easier to deal with. So if I trigger the dispenser system now, or at least flick the switch again, the dispensers are going to attempt to place dispense empty buckets, which will just drop them out because the gravel is covering up the water. So it's a pretty smart idea, I think. Wow, there's already mobs spawning in there. Okay, sweet. Let's see if that trick actually worked. So flick the switch. I should get a zillion buckets. And now for layer 2. All we gotta do is flick this lever once again, and that will send out all the water, which will also solidify all that concrete powder down there. So there we go. Here comes the water. Then we can drop the next layer, flick the lever again, and that'll get us all the empty buckets. Layer 2 of lag, or doom, whatever you want to call it. What's cool is that with each layer, things get easier. Or at least it should. Oh boy. So here we go. All of the layers that were built during that time lapse are now in position with some water poured over them. So at this point, see, what I was hoping with the time lapse was to kind of partially reveal what I'm printing as I'm building it. And that didn't quite work out. So instead, I'm going to give you some underside views of here's one side, here's the other side. Can't quite see it through the signs. But then I'm going to break this. But then I'm going to break all the stone, and at least this one piece of stone that breaks all the signs. And that way you can see each layer as it's being printed. So a quick first-person time lapse. So next, what I'm doing, I'm in the process of dismantling the 3D printer, or at least the pseudo 3D printer, and I'm mainly placing stone slabs at the bottom of the printing bed. And the reason for this is I want to remove all that gravel that we placed, and this way we can pull out a shovel. And this way the printing bed can, well, this way we can actually reveal what we can kind of nice and fantastically make a big deal about revealing what we actually printed, because I haven't exactly done that yet. So, man, crouching mechanics are sweet. Okay, we have the giant gravel cube with some solidified concrete inside there somewhere, which will soon dramatically reveal the thing that I've been printing. And you can kind of see a piece sticking out there. And in fact, let's hop on the camera account and show everything. Some sneak peeks into what exactly this is. So, all the dispensers and redstone has been removed. So, now, let's reveal what this statue, or the print is. I've already kind of spoiled it. It's a statue. But of what? I am, of course, going to be mining this down with my fortune pick because I need lots of cobblestone. So, oh my goodness, that's a lot of lag. Plus, it's a good thing I have stone slabs at the bottom so that it just breaks all the gravel. Yikes. That is a lot of gravel. Yowza. Okay, let's just break the rest of this. Progress update, and also, guys, in the comments, how about you guess what this is, and then the next clip, I'm going to reveal what it is. I'm not sure what the prize is. How about you guys choose the prize? So, here we have a fully revealed fishing rod looking thing, plus a player arm. I've revealed a player arm on the other side. Plus we have an item over here, and right there, I'm going to just tell you up front, that is a trident. So, what in the world is the item? What's the trident doing there? And what is going on with the fishing rod? And why are there two player arms sticking out? So, guess what this statue is? And in the next clip, I'm going to reveal it. So, interesting coincidence with this. After building out these statues, I have 42 levels of experience, and the leftover player heads after digging up all that gravel and signs and everything is 42 player heads. Oh, and also I took down the beacon pyramid. So now I'm gonna duck underneath this tree, and actually, let's chop this tree down. It's kind of in the way. And reveal the statues. I didn't know leaves dropped sticks. When did that change? Anyway, here are the statues. It is a statue of me and future Javamonk with holding redstone, future Javamonk with his famous power trident, and me with my super famous fishing rod. So, there we go. That is the statue. And, actually I have future Javamonk way up there. This is a really good statue. You know what it's missing, though? Life. Let's bring some life to this. I think that's the future Javamonk seal of approval. So, there we go. There is a statue. It even has glowstone eyes. So, finally, that request from my very first livestream has finally been fulfilled. I've now built a statue of a mob with glowstone as eyes. You can't quite see the glowstone, but, you know, I am going to eventually leave this world up for download, so You can check for yourself. There is glowstone behind those glasses. Alright. I hope you enjoyed this episode, guys. So, this is the recap. This is what we built, but in kind of an unconventional way. This whole thing is made pretty much entirely out of concrete, and I used lots of gravel. It was kind of like 3D printing, but not really. So, it's kind of paying homage, or whatever that word is, to episode 42, where I legitimately 3D printed an island. And that island is way over there. So now, we have a statue, kind of representing a kind of a friendship between me and my future self. So, thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please let me know. And I'll see you next time.